Okay, folks, it is Sunday night, the first day of June 2025. It's about 3 more weeks until we enter into summer. What you're looking at here is Messier 65 and 66. I'll label them later. What I did is I centered on 65 and then shifted 66 into the field of view. We're operating at about 100x. I did a little bit of questing after the NGC galaxy that makes of this duo a trio, but I was unable to turn it up on the screen. I'm not sure if it's which direction to go, but I did do a bit of an exploration for about 5 or 10 minutes. It's now 2 minutes to 10 o'clock. We are doing a 10-second exposure. We're operating at 100x. Those are as fine of views as of the Messier 65 and 66 as I have gotten in the past. We might even try a 30-second imaging cycle before I head off and look for some more brightish galaxies and a couple of clusters this evening. Hey, we've just completed our second stack at 30 seconds for Messier 65 and 66. I'm going to push it up to, I believe, about 100x so we can get a good view of both galaxies in quite fine detail. I'll also play with the settings a little bit here on the histogram so that we can balance out the equation associated with detailed views as well as good aesthetics. I think we're pretty much getting there with this setting right here. I'm going to let it run for a couple of, I can't let more run for more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds at a time because I've kind of discovered that we end up truncating the views if I run for more than 3 minutes on any given view. But I think we've just had a third pass here, so now we're getting even finer view. And we will push this out a little bit. As I said before, I don't think I've had as fine a views of this 65 and 66 as we are getting this evening in the past. And I must point out that the moon, which is about 40% right now moon, is no more than 30 degrees west of the current position of the optical tube assembly. Look at these beauties develop with each and every pass. This is a spectacular view of the Leo duet. Unfortunately, I have not been able to track down the NGC edge-on that is associated with these two by searching around. We will leave it at that and keep a mind to just how spectacular this view is. The focus is very good. 30-second views, multiple passes, revealing all kinds of wonderful texture and detail in this pair. What a good start for the night. How about a look at Messier 104 before we move on to some other studies I've selected for the evening? Well, unfortunately, due to reflection off of the garage from a neighboring streetlight, we're getting some shading over here, or a luminosity over here to the lower right-hand corner. But this is basically let's check the magnification out, drop back to about a 250x view of Messier 104 and the spectacular lenticular sombrero galaxy for a moment before I move on to new studies for the evening, which will feature both bright Messiers and NGC galaxies. One more pass at 30 seconds is in the offing. And there it is. Here we're having a partially blocked view by the roof try of Messier 94, Galaxy in Canis Venatici. Magnitude 8.2, 2.3, 12.3 by 10.8 arc minutes, some 15 million light years distant, which puts this at maybe 60 to 70,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension 12 hours, 50 minutes, 53 seconds with a declination of plus 41 degrees, 7 minutes, and 15 seconds. We're about to make our possibly third 30-second pass. So I'll let it run for another 30-second pass before we move on. I'll do a little bit of a zoom in. We'll go to 50%, see if that helps improve it. We can push it. We're getting some nice swirlage in this galaxy. Meanwhile, I can center it up so that we can get a decent view. What a luminous core this galaxy has. Very face on with lots of modeling. Excellent view of Messier 94, despite the fact we're losing a little bit of our aperture due to the roof try. I'm going to go ahead and make a little shift, and there we go. And the histogram, run it up to the right, darkens the background sky. There we have it. All right, here we go. We're going to move on next to Messier 63, if it's within the field of view from the Penti, the observatory. Here's our first stack of Messier 63. Give it a chance to stack some more as I give you the data on it before I zoom in a little bit. Okay, Messier 63 is a galaxy in Canis Venatici, magnitude 8.6, slightly fainter than the last and slightly smaller, 12.6 by 7.5. Arc minutes, 37 million light years distant, puts this one roughly at about 120,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension, 13 hours, 15 minutes, 49 seconds, with a declination of plus 42 degrees, 1 minute, and 57 seconds. And I can begin by doing a little zoomage. Let's go to 50%. These are fairly large galaxies. Make a little bit of an adjustment on the histogram to reveal more of the spiralicity, and then possibly do a slight adjustment in terms of the appearance factor using the right histogram. And there we have a beautiful spiral galaxy with nuclear core, the nucleus, the core region, spiralicity going off. Several spiral arms, so I would venture to say this is a class spiral with a lowercase, which typically means multiple spiral arms. I will go on to our next study as we get a few more stacks, which will be something other than a galaxy. Clearly, this is not a galaxy. In fact, it is a globular cluster. Amazingly enough, we are getting extremely good view for 30 seconds exposure time. M3 is a globular cluster in Canis Venatici, magnitude 6.3, 18.6 arc minutes in size, 33,900 light years distant, with a right ascension of 13 hours, 42 minutes, 11 seconds, and a declination well south of the roof try, plus 28 degrees, 22 minutes, and 32 seconds. Very, very fine view. Now let's go ahead and do our zoomage on this one until we can fill the entire field of view as much as feasible. Now remember, the ZWO imager has 0.5 arc seconds resolution. The scope itself is limited to 0.8. The Rev 2 system was about 3 to 4 times that, which would not have given this kind of view under these exposure times. But this is quite spectacular, and I can continue zooming in just for the heck of it. But artistically and aesthetically, this is a very, get that percentage again, 60% view at about 110 to 120x is quite good. Now, as the ZEWO imager continues to stack. I'm going to go on to Messier 101. And we'll watch this happen. And here we go, about to launch Messier 101. This, of course, is the famous double galaxy of Messier 51. I believe it was 56 is the smaller galaxy, but I'll have to determine that in a moment. What a beautiful spiral form this galaxy has. I have seen the spirals through a 6-inch telescope at the eyepiece. It was a 150 millimeter Maxitov Cassegrain, but under spectacular sky conditions. Otherwise, from normal backyard conditions, you wouldn't notice the spiralicity of the arms at all. So as we continue to gather some stacking, I'll go ahead and zoom in a little bit. This image is not suffering with magnification. Until we get to about 80%, I'll center up the pair of them. We'll allow the stack to continue as I look for the next galaxy in the series, which is Messier 63, and we'll have a look at it if it isn't too far north. Here we have a 75x view of Messier 63. It's a galaxy in Canis Venatici. Magnitude 8.6, 12.6 by 7.5 arc minutes, 37 million light years distant. I do believe we'll get the full aperture of the scope on it, despite the fact that its declination is 42 degrees, 1 minute, 57 seconds, with a right ascension of 13 hours, 15 minutes, and 49 seconds. Keep in mind, this evening we are imaging 30 seconds at a time, which should give views comparable, I think, on a really good night of seeing to a 36 to a 48-inch aperture scope. Push this one right up in the middle. I don't know why I was using the sliders when I could just grab and shift. Let the image stack a few more times as I go for our next study this evening. Indeed, I should have recalled that the companion galaxy to Messier 51 is actually an NGC 5195, also a galaxy, of course, in Canis Venatici. On its own, it may have been discovered as a Messier, but because it was entangled with the larger, brighter galaxy, it probably was missed and considered just to be part of it. Its magnitude 9.6, 5.9 by 4.6 arc minutes, spiral with a bar, also of the lenticular class A, lowercase a, which means half removed from a lenticular, 25 million light years distant. Puts this baby, even though, at something probably around 30,000 light years in diameter. Right ascension is 13 hours, 29 minutes, 59 seconds. Declination, getting some blockage here, is 47 degrees north, 16 minutes. It's a very nice view. It warrants some kind of a zoomage. And that is where I'll leave it as I look up our next NGC study of the evening. With this last fleeting view of the M51 system, we're going to go on to another NGC study. This is NGC 5466. It's a globular cluster, as you can tell, in Boötes, magnitude 9.1, 9.2 arc minutes in size, Its brightest stars are magnitude 13.8. It's a class 12, which means loose and disparate in magnitude, 54,000 light years distant. Now we are using 30-second exposures. It's quite boggling to me that we're not seeing more resolved stars than that. Let's go ahead and, since the brightest stars are magnitude 13.8, let's go ahead and do a little bit more zoomage. Try to center it up a little bit more. And that basically is our view. The stars look quite nice, actually, but I am surprised. This is a 9.1 magnitude galaxy, but its brightest stars are only 4.87 magnitudes brighter than the galaxy as a whole. So it's very diffuse, very loosely packed, but still a nice view. NGC 5466. And I'll let that continue to stack a little bit, although it's not as essential for stars as it is for galaxies and nebulosities as we go on to our next study. Here we have a 30-second exposure of single stack so far of NGC 5363, a galaxy in Virgo. Magnitude 10.1, 4.6 by 3.1 arc minutes, spiral with a lowercase a, which means multiple spiral arms, but at one time removed from lenticular. 50 million light years distant gives it a size of maybe 65,000 light years in diameter. We're at right ascension, 13 hours, 56 minutes, 7 seconds, with a declination of plus 5 degrees, 15 minutes, and 16 seconds. And because we have shifted to a different part of the sky, we're not tracking quite as well as we might. I'll push it towards the center. Oh, it didn't turn out too bad in centering. And push the magnification way up. Clearly, there's a very bright star right here. We are getting some doubling here, so maybe there's been some shifting going on. I'll allow the image to restack as we move on to as I select our next study for the evening. Well, we've had so many spectacular studies this evening, I thought we'd exit on something a little less than spectacular. This is a galaxy from the other evening at a 30-second exposure. It's NGC 5112, and it also has a very nice other edge-on galaxy with some nice perturbations in its edge-on presentation down below it. I'm not sure which galaxy that is, but let's just have a look here at NGC 5112. It's magnitude 12.1, 4 by 2.9 arc minutes, spiral with a bar in lowercase c. As you can look at it, you can tell it's not a particularly mature galaxy. In fact, it's 3 times removed from the lenticular class. It's 47 million light years distant, and at that size, it's probably somewhere around 60,000 light years in diameter without apparent size. We're at right ascension, 13 hours, 21 minutes, 56 seconds, with a declination of plus 38 degrees, 44 minutes, and 4 seconds. Now, we're getting the full aperture of the scope on this. We're now some 20 minutes or so into this video. I think we can leave on this one, but I'm going to do some zoomage first, just to see if we can bring out some more faint detail. There's our 100% e-zoom at 250x on NGC 5112 Galaxy in Canispenetisi. And with that, I'm going to say carpe